Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a really pivotal moment in ancient history, a story about leadership, change, and the tricky business of getting what you think you want. We're talking about the time the people of Israel decided they'd had enough of being different and demanded a king, just like all the other nations. And at the center of this whole drama is one of the last great judges, a man named Samuel. So, picture this. Samuel has been leading Israel for years. He's a prophet, a judge, a spiritual guide, the real deal. He's dedicated his entire life to serving God and the people. But as he gets older, the people start getting anxious. They look around at their neighbors, who all have kings with shiny crowns, big armies, and impressive palaces, and they think, hey, why don't we have one of those? It's a classic case of wanting to fit in, of feeling like the grass is greener on the other side. They come to Samuel and basically say, we're done with this system of judges. We want a king to lead us, to fight our battles, and to make us look like a proper nation. Now, you can imagine how this felt to Samuel, and more importantly, how it was perceived by God. The request wasn't just a political reshuffle, it was a spiritual rejection. For centuries, God had been their king, guiding them directly, protecting them, and setting them apart as a unique people. This demand for a human king was like telling God, thanks, but no thanks. We think a man can do a better job. It showed a deep lack of trust in God's plan and his protection. Samuel is heartbroken, but God tells him, listen to them. It's not you they're rejecting. They're rejecting me as their king. So, God instructs Samuel to give the people what they want, but not without a serious warning label attached. This is where Samuel lays out the real cost of kingship, and it's a heavy price. He doesn't sugarcoat it at all. He basically gives them a terms and conditions rundown of what life under a king will actually be like. He tells them, this king you want so badly, he's going to take your sons. He'll draft them into his army to serve as soldiers and chariot drivers. He'll make them run ahead of his chariots. He'll take others to plow his fields and reap his harvests. It's a picture of forced conscription, of young men being taken from their families to serve the state. But it doesn't stop there. Samuel continues, he will take your daughters, too. Some will become his perfumers, some his cooks, and some his bakers. Their daughters would be pulled into domestic service for the royal court, their lives no longer their own. The king's needs would come first. And what about their property? Samuel warns, he'll take the best of your fields, your vineyards, and your olive groves, and give them to his officials, the very land that was their inheritance. Their livelihood would be subject to seizure by the king to reward his cronies. The economic burden would be immense. He goes on, he will take 1/10 of your grain and your vintage to give to his officials and attendants, and 1/10 of your flocks too. This was a heavy tax, a constant drain on their resources, all to support the lavish lifestyle and bureaucracy of a royal court. In the end, he says, you yourselves will become his slaves. This is a stark, brutal picture. Samuel is trying to make them see that the king they envision as a glorious protector will actually become a massive burden. He warns them, and when that day comes, you will cry out for relief from the king you have chosen. But the Lord will not answer you in that day. It's a chilling prophecy. You're choosing this path, and when you realize it was a mistake, you'll be on your own. You wanted a human to save you, so don't come crying to God when he fails. Despite this incredibly clear and dire warning, the people refuse to listen. Their minds are made up. They double down, saying, no, we want a king over us. Then we will be like all the other nations, with a king to lead us and to go out before us and fight our battles. They were so fixated on conforming, on having a visible, human leader, that they completely ignored the catastrophic consequences Samuel laid out. They chose the illusion of security offered by a human king over the proven, divine leadership of God. This decision marks a massive turning point, a spiritual decline that would shape the rest of their history. So, the process begins. Saul is chosen as the first king, and for a while, things seem to go okay. But eventually, the time comes for Samuel to officially step down from his public leadership role. He gathers all of Israel for a powerful farewell speech. This isn't just a goodbye. It's his final, passionate plea for the nation to remember who they are and who is truly in charge. He starts by holding himself accountable. He stands before everyone and says, here I stand. Testify against me in the presence of the Lord and his anointed king. Whose ox have I taken? Whose donkey have I taken? Whom have I cheated? Whom have I oppressed? He invites public scrutiny of his entire life, of every decision he ever made. It's a masterclass in leadership, integrity. He's showing them what a true leader, one who serves God and the people, looks like. He's transparent, accountable, and his conscience is clear. The people respond in unison. You have not cheated us or oppressed us or taken anything from anyone's hand. His record is spotless. He established his moral authority before delivering his final, crucial message, with his integrity confirmed. Samuel then gives them a history lesson. He reminds them of everything God has done for them, from rescuing them from Egypt to raising up judges to deliver them from their enemies time and time again. He's building a case, showing them God's unwavering faithfulness throughout their history. And then he points out their pattern of unfaithfulness, culminating in this very demand for a king. Then comes the most dramatic moment of his speech, to prove that his words are from God and to show God's displeasure with their decision. Samuel says, "Is it not the wheat harvest today? I will call on the Lord to send thunder and rain, and you will realize what a great evil you did in the eyes of the Lord when you asked for a king." Now, you have to understand, in that part of the world, rain during the dry wheat harvest season was virtually unheard of. It would be like a blizzard hitting the Sahara Desert in July. And as Samuel prays, the sky darkens, the thunder cracks, and a powerful storm breaks out. It's a miraculous sign, a direct, undeniable confirmation from God. The people are terrified. They finally see the gravity of their sin. They rush to Samuel, begging, "Pray to the Lord your God for your servants so that we will not die, for we have added to all our other sins the evil of asking for a king." The fear is real, but Samuel, ever the shepherd, reassures them. He tells them not to be afraid, but he also doesn't let them off the hook. He says, "You have done all this evil, yet do not turn away from the Lord, but serve the Lord with all your heart." This is a call to repentance and renewal. The mistake has been made. The king is in place, but the path forward is not despair. The path forward is renewed obedience, and this is the core of his final message. He lays out the two paths before them. He says, "If you and your new king will fear the Lord, serve and obey him, and not rebel against his commands, then all will be well." Obedience guarantees blessing, even within this new, flawed system of monarchy. God can still work through it if the people and their king remain faithful. But, he warns, if you disobey and rebel against the Lord's command, his hand will be against you, just as it was against your ancestors. The consequences for wickedness haven't changed. Having a king is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. God's sovereignty is absolute, and he is still the ultimate king, holding both the people and their earthly king accountable. Prosperity comes from obedience. Disaster comes from disobedience. It's that simple. In his closing words, Samuel shows his incredible heart for the people, even after they rejected his leadership and God's kingship. He says, "As for me, far be it from me that I should sin against the Lord by failing to pray for you. And I will teach you the way that is good and right." Even in retirement, he commits to being their intercessor, their prayer warrior, and their teacher. He won't abandon them. This highlights the crucial role of prayer and guidance in true leadership. A good leader doesn't just give up when things get tough or when people make bad choices. They continue to care, to pray, and to guide. Samuel's farewell speech is so much more than just a goodbye. It's a summary of Israel's past, a diagnosis of its present, and a prophetic warning for its future. It's a powerful lesson on the dangers of wanting to be like everyone else, the consequences of rejecting God's authority, and the absolute necessity of integrity and obedience. He shows that even when people make choices that lead down a difficult road, there is always a path back to restoration through repentance and faithfulness. God's sovereignty reigns supreme over any human system or king. This story serves as a timeless reminder for all of us. It's easy to look around and want what others have, to trust in human systems and leaders more than in God. But Samuel's final words echo through the centuries, calling us to fear the Lord, to serve him with all our hearts, and to remember the great things he has done for us. Thanks so much for watching today. I hope this look at Samuel's farewell has given you something to think about. If you found this interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into these incredible stories. Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts on this transition from judges to kings. See you in the next video and God bless.